Hey YouTube, Active Asshole on Roids here with another glorious rant. That's Active Asshole on Roids, kryptonite for conservatives. I'm off my roids, off my rocker, and on the warpath. Here we go. Now, I've noticed in recent weeks, well, in the recent couple of weeks since the Ryan, since that, since that Ryan Elliot fucknut, that misogynistic fucknut went on his little shooting rampage, the gun nuts have been saturating the living shit out of every single, and I do mean every single video, every single comment section on the internet. You've probably seen at least one gun troll on all of these websites, forums, YouTube videos, talking about how we need to take gun control, gun control this, gun control that. I'm only making this video to reiterate on my point that I made, in my James Yeager, Alex Jones video back last year. And that point is this. I wish they would try I really wish that the militia nuts would try this shit. I wish they would go out of their way. I mean, I wish that they would buy into the whole, and the Democrats are going to take our guns. The Democrats are going to take our guns narrative pushed by the NRA and the other gun nut seminar Fappist organizations. I wish they would buy into it so much that they finally just get it the fuck over with and try to use their Second Amendment remedies. I wish they'd fucking try it. I wish they'd fucking try it. Please. The only reason you assholes even walked away in one piece from the whole Bundy standoff out in Nevada was because you were in a confrontation with the BLM, the Federal Bureau of Land Management, which are not trained to handle domestic terrorists or armed suspects. Of course, now they have the FBI putting those militia guys under investigation. The smell of militia blood spilled. Not as good as being able to roast marshmallows and weenies on their charred bodies after a Waco scenario, but it'll have to suffice. But I'm just gonna say that, hey, against all the equipment that law enforcement and the military has developed over the past 20 years since Waco alone, good luck. Good luck, you little assholes. You're gonna need it. I mean, if you're delusional enough to believe that somehow you militia nuts are going to are going to win in a fight, and the thing is, nobody's out to take your guns. They're just trying to make it where the wrong people can't get their fucking hands on them. But then again, considering that you're crazy enough to buy into all that Alex Jones conspiracy theory nonsense, you militia nuts probably couldn't pass a psychiatric evaluation with flying colors if your life depended on it. And many of you are probably ex-convicts associated with groups like, I don't know, 4-leaf clovers or something, and you probably aren't legally able to own a gun, and you have one that you illegally, So I can see why you assholes wouldn't want the gun show loophole closed. I can see why you wouldn't want comprehensive mental health investments in this country because it would pretty much dry up the swamp that you guys need for membership. It would dry up the swamp of fear and hate and stupidity that you guys need for members. And as for the militia tards who think that groups like the Oath Keepers and the Sovereign Citizen movement are somehow going to make a two shits worth of a flying fuck difference if it ever came down to you assholes versus the U.S. military. Most of these guys in the Oath Keepers aren't even really ex-law enforcement. They're just a bunch of militia dumbasses who bought into the identity theology posse comitatus garbage. They think that somehow their people's jury is legitimate under some pseudo-intellectual pseudo-legalistic construct developed by some other white supremacist, anti-Semitic, neo-Nazi nut job named William Potter Gale back in the 50s and 60s, propagated by another neo-Nazi former Hitler worshiper by the name of Michael Beach, who was the second in command of William Dudley Pilley back in the 60s and back in the 1930s. Who, William Dudley Pilley being the leader of the Silver Shirt Legions, which was the largest Depression-era proto-fascist, pro-Hitler group in America. This was back in the 1930s. Now, this Michael Beach guy went on after the Second World War to take the posse comitatus idea, which was the vehicle construct that he devised as a sort of framework for the identity theology that he also developed, that he and a few other prominent white supremacists also developed back in the late 40s and 50s after the Second World War ended. And Michael Beach went and popularized it and made a lot of money off popularizing the posse comitatus within far-right anti-tax, backwoods shit-kicking circle jerk circles. So, hey, if you want to buy into this crap, if you really want to believe that the Oath Keepers and these other militia tards are gonna do much good. I mean, most of these guys don't have law enforcement or military training. They really don't. And as for the ones that were in the military at some point or another, that's the thing though. They were in the military. Most of them are not current members of the military. Military doctrine could very well have changed depending on how long ago they were actually in it. So that's probably not going to help you either. And those who are in it, do you really think that they are really going to sacrifice their career in the military, assuming they've actually accomplished something, which I don't think they really have? I met some of these wackos who were in the National Guard, who were members of the Sons of the Confederacy and other white supremacist movement groups, and most of them are so low IQ that they fail as if it were second nature to them to fail. It'd just be the deaf leading the blind. You guys are fucked. You are literally fucked if you try that garbage, and I will be helping law enforcement by pointing them in the direction to shoot. I will be pointing them in your direction. If it comes down to it, I will be sending a beer. Scratch that. I will send a whole cooler full of beers. And because of my high-paying job, of course, I can afford some very nice beer, some very high-priced beer. Not the domestic stuff, the import stuff. Something a little pricier, and I will send it to the cop, to the law enforcement officer, FBI, ATF, local or state police, who makes the most kills, as a congratulation for a job well done. And again, there was a Waco situation about a year ago in Alabama, very close to where I live, relatively speaking, in Mobile, Alabama, where a man kidnapped a 5-year-old boy and took him on a joyride in a school bus, and exited the school bus with the kid and ran off into a compound that he fortified and stayed there for about 6 days. And they got the bastard, and they got the kid back safely, but I regret the fact that I wasn't there to roast marshmallows and weenies on their his smoldering ashes. I regret that I was not there. I regret that I was unable to keep my promise because I had to go to work. Maybe next time I'll be able to keep my promise and roast weenies and hot dogs on some smoldering, right-tard, backwoods militia ass. Until next time, this is Active Asshole on roids. Peace out, everybody.